Today I'm going to go through my May physical media haul and let you know how I ended up with this ridiculous amount of stuff. So let's get into it.
Welcome back, sir. All systems for gaming will be prepared in a few minutes. For now, feel free to grab a cup of coffee and have a good day.
Hey everyone, Mike here. Welcome back to the Marvel Man Cave, and today is the May physical media haul. The month, honestly, it started out slow and then it just ramped up. It was a combination of some Memorial Day sales at the end of the month, but mostly I hit up a few thrift stores and flea markets where I came away with some stuff with some really good deals, including some items that I've been really looking for probably the past year. So I'm going to save those for last because they're also a few of the more rare items that are going to be in my collection and definitely harder to find, at least for me. Before we get into it today, I am so close to 100 subscribers, which when I think about it completely blows my mind, because if I thought about standing in an auditorium in front of 95 people, my hands would probably be shaking. But I'd really love to get to 100, if for no other reason. It's just a nice round number. So if you could really hit that thumbs up, leave a comment. You're on YouTube, do all the things, and it would really help out the channel and really help the channel grow. I really appreciate everybody who's tuned in thus far. I'm going to throw out a question before we get started. Do you buy movies that you have not seen? I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos, well, for the past decade, but for over the past year or so, and it seems like at least a few of the collectors, I hear them talking about having to purge their collection of stuff that they bought and they never watched and stuff like that. And I feel like I might be in the minority. Like, I don't really buy anything that I haven't seen. It's a little bit, I would say it's a little bit easier because you can rent on like iTunes and all the digital streaming services, or you just wait for something to come on streaming. And then if I like it, I'll buy it. And a lot of times by that time, it might be on sale. But do you buy a lot of movies, or I guess quantify what you think is a lot that you have not seen just to own the physical disc of? I'm really curious to see if I'm in the minority or how the community feels about that. Speaking of movies that I've seen is The Game, and I can hear this one's kind of floating around in there, so I should have opened it. I just got this in yesterday. I'm filming here on a Wednesday. I remember seeing this movie probably when it first came out. I love David Fincher. I own pretty much all his movies except for The Killer. Hello, Netflix put out a physical release. And I remember really enjoying this, but it was kind of funny. I've been in the mood to watch it for the past few weeks, and I've been looking for it and haven't been able to find it. But then my buddy watched it not that long ago, and he said he didn't think it was as good as he remembered, but I'm going to see if it's as good as I remember. I remember kind of not liking it the first time I saw it, and then it growing on me the more and more viewings that I saw it. So I'm really excited to watch The Game by David Fincher, starring Michael Douglas and Sean Penn, and obviously opening this up so I can get rid of that floater. Another one I got in is Contact. This is another one I've really been excited to watch. I love this movie. I've seen it, I don't even know how many times, but I've never owned it on Blu-ray. And I kind of kept waiting for to find it out in the wild, and I never found it. And then Groove was having their sale for Memorial Day, and so I picked that up with The Game because I forget what the deal was, but they had a deal on the Blu-rays. They also had a deal on 4Ks, which I picked up a couple of those as well. But this is a classic movie in my mind. I absolutely love it, and it's another one I'm really excited to watch here soon. Now we're gonna get to a few that I got when I was traveling. I went to visit my brother back in Maryland, and while I was there, I went to a Second and Charles, and honestly racked up. I got quite a few, and among those was Neverending Story. I don't own this on any format. I know I used to. I would kind of wanted that big box set that I saw, but I just could never justify the cost. I really just love the movie. It does probably need a new case. I don't know if you can tell here, but it's a little beaten up, but I can live with that, and I can always replace the case. But this is one of my favorite movies. Even as an adult, I've watched it a number of times, and to me, it still holds up. It's still a fun movie. Another pickup from a Second and Charles, the movie Brick. I believe, and I'll put a comment up here if I'm wrong, but I believe this is Rian Johnson's first movie. I love it. I had a friend recommend this to me years and years ago, and absolutely love this movie. It's kind of like I would say almost a precursor to all his Knives Out and movies, where it's a detective story, but it's take place in high school. So it's a very fun movie. If you have not seen this one and you like Rian Johnson's movie, especially the Knives Out, I can highly recommend this. This is a very, very good movie, and you can see it's a international release. But I picked this up at a Second and Charles, and all the Second and Charles ones were at least like $5. They weren't bad at all. This one I got off from Half Price Books because I've been wanting to watch the movie Get Shorty. You can see a theme. A lot of these ones that I picked up in the last month are ones that I've kind of had the urge to watch that I didn't actually own on physical. I have all the digital from when I had them on DVD years and years ago, but figured it was time to upgrade, and the Blu-rays are cheap enough that it makes sense. So I got this for $4.95 at Hamilton Books. This is another very, very fun movie if you have not seen it. The Transporter, another one. This was kind of funny because I went to Second and Charles and I did not pick it up. I passed on it. It was $4.95 and I walked past it, and then I met my buddy out for dinner that Saturday night, and we started talking about various movies, and he brought up The Transporter and how he had just watched it and how much we enjoyed it when it first came out. So I went back to Second and Charles and I picked it up. Fortune would have it, I had a $5 off coupon from my previous purchase at Second and Charles, so I was able to get $5 off, which I ended up picking up a couple, which we'll get to in a little bit because there was a couple sweet 4Ks in that stack. But I picked this one up, and kind of another one, again, the theme. I'm looking forward to watching this again soon. Bull Durham. I think I said in one of my other videos that I wanted to do my favorite baseball movies of all time, and I didn't feel like I could do it until I had Bull Durham. Well, I saw Bull Durham. They had several different copies, and this was the cheapest cover. So I went ahead and got this one. It's another, I mean, it's just a classic movie. I showed my wife the trailer because I thought maybe she would like it because she's not into baseball or really sports it for that matter, but I thought she might like the story. And if you haven't seen the trailer for this, it cracks me up because I remember there being a lot of sex innuendos and things like that in the movie, but the trailer makes it look like it's basically softcore porn. It's kind of funny to see the trailer. If you've seen trailers from that era anyway, they are definitely a little bit different. These next few are pickups from the flea market, which I always end up getting for $2 each. The flea market has been a great place to rebuild my collection to what it once was and add newer stuff to it as well. But I picked up Argo. This is honestly, I think Ben Affleck won an Academy Award. I think it was for writing, or maybe it was Best Director. I think it was Best Director for this movie. Just a very, I would say, intense, based on a true story movie. If you haven't seen it, this is excellent. Can't recommend it high enough. Terminator Salvation. This is one more, I really actually enjoy this one. I think this is one of those movies I might enjoy it more than the populace does. And I don't know why. I like Christian Bale. I thought it was I liked it better than Terminator 3. And it's been a while since I've seen it, and it's been a while since I've seen Dark Fate and Genesis, but I think I like it better than both of those as well. But again, it's been a while since I've seen it, so this is one I want to sit down. And I do want to get all the Terminator movies on some format. I think T2 would be the only one that I would literally get on 4K, and the other ones I'm fine with on Blu-ray because they're not that great, but I have a fondness for the Terminator franchise. The Man from U.N.C.L.E, another one, Guy Ritchie. I love Guy Ritchie movies. I love Henry Cavill. I watched this again not that long ago and really enjoyed it. And when I saw it at the flea market for $2, felt like a no-brainer to pick up. I'm going to diverge a little bit here because this is a funny story. I found The Martian. I went to Half Price Books. This is one of those movies, again, theme of this month, is that I'd been in the mood to watch and had been looking for it. Didn't find it for a price that I really wanted. Finally decided to pick it up. Found it for $4.95 at a Half Price Books, the physical store, not their online store. Got it home. It had a slipcover with it. It was the 3D Blu-ray version of it. Has a slipcover, which I'd be curious to know, do you keep your slipcovers? I store mine. I found I'm more fond of storing them like this than having the slipcover on them. But I found this, and then a few days later, my wife and I went to the thrift store that is literally right on the corner at our house, and I came across this. And I'm going to give you a second. It's going to be on the honor system, but I'd love to hear in the comments below how much you think the 4K of The Martian cost. It's got the Blu-ray, it's got everything. The case is minty fresh.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
I paid $4.95 for this one. I paid $1 for this. Because it was so cheap, I could not pass it up, even though I had just bought this. So I will rehome this version of The Martian soon, as I added the 4K that comes with the Blu-ray. Doesn't have the 3D Blu-ray, but I don't have an ability to play that anyway, so that's fine. But that made me laugh because I'd been looking for this movie for a few months and found the Blu-ray, pulled the trigger, and then found its replacement almost immediately. Cracked me up. Adding to the Disney collection, Ratatouille. Again, this is just one of those items where I'm building up my wife and I's Disney collection, because every Sunday we do Disney movie night for anyone of a certain age. Remember, I think it was every Sunday. There used to be the Disney movie of the week. So every Sunday we have decided that we are going to recreate that time and do a Disney movie of the week, which we sometimes we do use Disney Plus, because sometimes my wife's in the mood for a movie that I don't physically own, but I'm trying to correct that by adding to the collection. And this month it was adding Ratatouille. Sucker Punch, Zack Snyder's, I think, second or third movie. I think we did Dawn of the Dead, 300, and then I believe Sucker Punch was his third one. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw this again, $2 at the flea market. Seemed like a no-brainer pickup, and it came with the extended edition, which I think I've seen, but I'm not 100% sure. I watched this on my digital copy about a year ago, so I'm not 100% sure if I saw the extended edition, but I'm definitely going to watch this again. I think this is an underrated movie. I really enjoy this movie. Another $2 pickup was Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Just a fun action movie. There's really not too much more to say. Doug Liman directed it, who I believe did the first Bourne Identity movie. It's just a fun movie. It's good action. I mean, it's Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie. It's fun. Despicable Me 3. This is the next to last one that I needed to complete my Despicable Me collection. I have 1, 2, the Minions movie, and 1 to get Despicable Me 3. I only need 4 now, and then I'll have all the Despicable Me movies. I just think these are fun. The Minions crack me up. They're probably one of my favorite modern creations of a character. I just think they're funny when you want to watch something silly and not take life too seriously. These are fun movies to get into. And speaking of fun movies and Disney, I finally found a copy of The Incredibles out in the wild. I've had The Incredibles 2 for a while, and I'd been looking for the original, and I could not find it for the life of me. And then I was at the flea market and found this copy. It's kind of hard to tell, but it's a little beat up. Part of it looks like someone's dog might have got to the corner and used it as a chew toy, but you can always replace the case. The artwork seems fine, except for maybe a little cut here and there, but I wanted to pick this one up because I have the second one and need to add it to my collection. This is one I was very surprised to find, but American History X and History of Violence. I've never seen History of Violence, but I've seen American History X, and I really enjoyed this movie. I'm a big Edward Norton fan, so I like to collect his movies. I'm also looking for 25th Hour, is the other one I've been on the hunt for. But I think this is the only way that this movie came on Blu-ray, was in this 2-pack with History of Violence. And I think I remember seeing bits and pieces of History of Violence, but I've never seen it all the way through. I remember it being a big deal in theaters. I can't remember why, but I remember people making somewhat of a big deal about it. But I'm looking forward to watching that, but I definitely wanted to pick up American History X. And I think when I looked it up on eBay, it goes for over $20, and I found it for 2, so it was a no-brainer pickup. Another fun movie is the 2-pack of Grumpy and Grumpier Old Men. This is just a hilarious movie. Obviously, most of Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau's movies came out well before my time, but I remember watching Grumpy Old Men when I was probably in my mid to late teens. I can't remember when this movie came out. Both movies are on one disc. They're just fun movies. I don't remember that much about Grumpier Old Men, but Grumpy Old Men is just a hilarious movie. It's a lot of fun to watch. And so, again, $2 at the flea market. You got to pick it up. Another flea market pickup, Under Siege. You can kind of start to see a little bit of a theme with some of the older movies that I'm picking up. They're movies that were during my teen years, things like that. Under Siege is just one of those. I think License to Kill, I think that's the name of the other Steven Seagal movie that I want. A lot of his earlier movies are fairly decent. I chalk him up to, I would say Jason Statham is the new Steven Seagal, but I think Jason Statham is a much better actor. You know what you're getting with Jason Statham and Steven Seagal movies. You know exactly what to expect going in. But Under Siege is a very fun movie. Tommy Lee Jones is in this as well, so it's very well done. very good action. From what I remember, it's been a long time since I've seen it. So when I saw this for $2, I was like, I'm going to pick this up and grab this one and watch this one again. It'd be good for a Saturday afternoon. Another Guy Ritchie movie and another $2 pickup at the flea market is Rock-n-Rolla. Again, I'm trying to get as many of the Guy Ritchie movies as I can. I'm really a fan of his directing style. Other than I probably won't pick up Aladdin. I think it was Aladdin that he directed. I'm gonna pass that. But like his movies, like The Gentleman, I already own Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, things like that are the kind of movies of his that I really get into. I also will not be picking up Swept Away. I added Star Wars on Blu-ray to my collection because somehow I did not own, or yeah, I would say did is in past because obviously I do now. I didn't own the original trilogy on any format other than the VHS of the special editions that I used to own way back in the day. And then I found the unspecial editions on VHS. So that was the only way I owned them, but I didn't own them in a way that I could watch them other than on digital from when I bought those. So I wanted to get these on a physical disc, and I still think, I know there was some contract with George Lucas when Lucas sold the Star Wars films to Disney that they could never release the original editions that I saw when I was a kid. But I would really hoping that some way they will find a way to release those. Maybe that was only for so many years, because I think Disney is basically just leaving money on the table, not having the original versions of the movie that we all saw in theaters, or well, people of a certain age saw in theaters when they came out. But I wanted to pick these up because I did not own the original trilogy, which seemed like a crime. And I would really love to get them on 4K, but the 4Ks are just a little bit pricier than I really want to pay. So again, this whole set cost me $2 at the flea market, so it's not going to be a big deal to replace if one day I end up finding a good deal on the 4Ks. The last Blu-ray of the bunch is The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. This is one I've been on the hunt for probably the better part of 6 to 8 months, and I can find it on eBay. It was $20. It just wasn't a price I really kind of wanted to pay, and it was fluctuating. I came very close. I think in my last haul video, I might have mentioned that I came very close because I found it at a Goodwill for $2, but then when I opened the case, it only had the DVD. It didn't have the Blu-ray, so obviously I passed on that because I really wanted the Blu-ray. I ended up finding it at Hamilton Books for $4.95, so decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and get it because that was the best price I had seen that anywhere. And then the ironic thing is, when I was shopping at Second and Charles, I saw at least 3 or 4 versions of this movie, all with the Blu-ray, all for $4.95. I didn't pay any shipping at Hamilton Books because I think I'd bought enough at that point in time that I was good for that part. So I didn't feel too bad about it, but it just kind of made me laugh for a movie that I'd been looking for months and months for, that I finally found it. And then it's like when you buy a car, you notice everybody driving that same car. It was the same thing. I bought the Blu-ray and then I noticed it everywhere. Now we're moving on to the 4Ks, and I'm going to show both these at the same time because I got these for the Groove Memorial Day sale, where I think it was, what was it, two for 22 or something like that. I can't remember the deal. I think it must have been 2 for 22 because I remember getting both of these for $11 was, I think, the best deal I'd seen. I've been tracking these through the website Camel that tracks the price fluctuations on Amazon, and I hadn't seen either of these for less than, I think, $14. So getting them both for basically 11, because I bought them at the same time, was the best deal I'd seen. And I'd really been in the mood to watch Fury Road again. I saw Furiosa when it came to streaming and really enjoyed it, and I thought it was really good, and I was like, I wouldn't mind owning that, especially because just to get it for the HDR, all the improved audio that you're going to get on the disc. I'm really excited to watch both of these, especially since I got upgraded my audio system to the Atmos through Sonos and stuff like that last year. I was really looking forward to watching Fury Road because I've heard it's a reference quality, and I didn't own the physical yet. Another one I'm going to show at the same time is Ghostbusters 1 and 2. I got both of these from Second and Charles, and it was funny to me because I just kind of decided to go on a whim the day before I was leaving town. And as I was kind of walking through, I was scanning pretty quickly because I'd already gone through, I'd spent 2 hours in there 2 days before. But I saw the original Ghostbusters in 4K just sitting kind of on top of the rack there, not in any kind of specialized case. And I picked it up and I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have, because somehow I don't own the Ghostbusters movies either, or did not. And saw it $4.95. And again, like I said, I had that $5 coupon, and I was like, well, this one's free. So why not pick it up? If I had a $5 coupon, because there was no limit. I didn't have to buy like $50. It was just you got $5 off. And then I was walking around, I saw Ghostbusters 2. Again, that one was in a big chunky protective case, but I decided to pick up that one because that way I have both of them. And I think Ghostbusters 2 was $10.95, so I picked them both up, and they were still sealed, completely sealed, brand new, factory sealed, and they both had the digital codes, so I got the digital movies out of these as well, which somehow I didn't own, which surprised me. Usually I have, especially movies like this. I was surprised I didn't at least own the first Ghostbusters on digital, other than when I burned my original DVD copy. Another series that as of today is incomplete because I have two of the three, I would say, Kelvin universe Star Trek movies. I have the second and third one. The first one is supposed to be arriving. I don't know when. The funny thing is, I bought the three of these on Amazon all at the same time, and all from half price books. Figured, why not? I actually intentionally looked to see if the half price book seller had all three of them, just to make it easier. I was like, they'll probably ship them together because we'll see the order come at the same time. It's going to the same address. Yeah, no, they all came separately. The third, I think, the Beyond came first, and then this one came, and I'm still waiting on the original. Don't know when it's coming. Amazon just says by May 29th, which as of today is tomorrow. So we'll wait and see when the first one is going to show up. I'm really hoping it gets here because I would like to watch it, and I kind of want to start from the beginning. Even though I've seen all these multiple times, I know how they end up and everything, but it would just kind of be fun to start from the beginning. But it just cracks me up that I have literally got them in a reverse order of the series itself, and I bought them all at the same time, all from the same seller, all on Amazon. So maybe in my June haul, you'll see the first Star Trek movie. This was a pure nostalgia buy, but I bought the Monster Squad because Wolfman's got nards. This I have not seen in such a long time, but I watched it quite a bit when I was a kid. And this is just one of those, I think Kino Lorber, I think they were putting stuff on, they had a sale going on. I think it was like something like $12. I'd have to go back and look. But I debated and waffled back and forth. And then the funny thing is, I was talking to my wife, and I showed her the trailer, and she's like, I'd watch that with you because she likes all the kind of universal classic monsters. So I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm not expecting it to really hold up as well as it does in my head, but I'm going to go ahead and pick it up because it was on sale. And I just kind of had that nostalgia factor of like, I'm going to pick this up and watch it. Hacksaw Ridge on 4K. This was another one I was really honestly surprised because I found this at the flea market for $2, and it was kind of in a stack of other Blu-rays, and I was just kind of sifting through and ended up picking this one up and showed the guys like, here's everything I got, and he was like $4 because it was this and one other, I think it was this and the Star Wars movies I got together, and he was like $4. I was like, awesome. That's why I love going to the flea market. Sometimes you got to hunt, and honestly, sometimes you have to pass things up because you'll see stuff, and at least for some of the 4Ks, people charge $20, $30. It's really not anything that you're really getting a deal of, because you would think at a flea market it'd be a little bit cheaper. But sometimes you got to pass stuff up, and then sometimes you come across great deals like this. So, this and the Martian on 4K, I paid a total of $3 for. Where are you going to find a deal on 4K like that? And then the final, I would say 4K for the month was, or I guess technically the first one was Lilo and Stitch, the cartoon. I had this pre-ordered. I'll end up taking this slip off before I store it on the thing. But again, obviously the third Disney movie that I bought for the month. I've always been lukewarm on the Stitch character. You can leave your comments in the comment section below on how you feel about that. But I've always been lukewarm on the Stitch character. I thought this movie was okay when I saw it a few years ago, but my wife loves it. And when Disney decided to re-release this on 4K, it was like, how can I not add this to the Disney collection? Now we're moving on to the steelbooks that I added for the month, and the most recent one was Inception. I got this from Zavvi. I think it was a restock, and it's become one of those things. Christopher Nolan, like a lot of people, he's one of my favorite directors. Inception, not my favorite. Interstellar is my favorite Christopher Nolan movie, but this one's up here. I remember seeing this in the theater multiple times and just being wowed by several of the scenes and dissecting it and talking about it with my friends. So I actually have this on 4K, so I'll have to transfer that out and rehome it. But when Zavvi had this steelbook for sale, I think I have it in my head that I would like to get the Christopher Nolan collection all in Steelbook. I already have Interstellar, Oppenheimer, now Inception. I have the Dark Knight trilogy on order from Zavi, so we'll see when that actually, or if that actually comes through. But I think I have it in my head. I don't think I'll probably end up ever getting Memento unless they re-release that, but I'll get close. I found Cliffhanger at the Second and Charles on 4K sitting there. This one was $20. I think I give or take. I'm rounding up, but like $17.95, $20 with tax. But I saw this, and honestly, the Steelbook part jumped out at me, and I'd been debating, and I've kind of been, as if you watched last month's video, you'll notice I'm kind of on a Sylvester Stallone kick. Again, my mom's favorite actor, so I saw all his movies when I was a kid. I remember it very fondly. So when I saw this sitting on the shelf, it called out to me and said it needed a home, and I got one for it. I picked up Lovecraft Country on Blu-ray for $8. This was on Amazon. I think it's one of those, like, you would kind of expect it to be sold out at this point because this show is not new. It's been on, I think I remember watching it probably around 2020 during the pandemic, maybe 2021. But this went on sale on Amazon and I decided to pick it up. I think the artwork is pretty cool because it's got, sorry about the glare, it's got that, and then that is on the back, and it's kind of the reverse of it. But if you haven't seen this series, this is an excellent series. HBO, I would say during the pandemic, had two. This was a really great show, and the Watchmen series was both really great, and they were kind of around, I would say, the same time. At least that's how I remember it in my head. But I remember really enjoying this, and when I saw it for $8 for the Blu-ray Steelbook on Amazon, I just decided to go ahead and pick it up. And the next few are going to be just new releases that came out in the month of May, which was The Knight's Tale 4K. Is another movie that I remember it very fondly. I remember seeing this in the theater with my friends. I remember when we walked out, I remember one of my friends seemed a little perturbed about the modern day music with the setting of medieval times, but the movie's too much fun. I mean, it's got a great cast. I mean, Paul, obviously Heath Ledger, Paul Bettany, and the rest of the cast and crew. They are just, was excellently done. It is a fun movie. It is one that I can watch. One of those movies you can just put in and watch anytime, put on in the background. You know how it's going to go, but it's a very fun movie with a lot of heart. I got Kick-Ass from Lionsgate Limited. This is another movie that I just remember very fondly. It's got really great artwork. It's a lot of fun. This is the disc on the inside and the artwork on the inside. So I had pre-ordered this from Lionsgate Limited when they first announced it because I probably won't get the second one because I don't remember being as fond of the second one as the first one, but I really enjoy the first one. You can kind of see it's got a little bit of that. I don't want to say glossy, but you can tell there's, like, I would say a 3D effect because of the way the slipcover comes off with their mask and then it reveals their secret identities. But very fun movie. It's got McLovin in it. It's a reference if for those of you of a certain age. But yeah, just a very fun movie. I love Matthew Vaughn, so I buy a lot of Matthew Vaughn movies as well. Masters of the Universe, Revolution and Revelation. This is another one. I grew up watching He-Man as a kid. I used to own just about every He-Man figure that there was. So I was in the bag when Netflix had the series out. I'm a big Kevin Smith fan, so you already had me. I was very shocked that Netflix released this. Netflix, obviously, as we all know, does not really release a lot of their series on physical. So this was an insta buy as soon as they announced it, if for no other reason than to show Netflix that there is a market for physical releases of their shows, but also is He-Man. So a no-brainer for me. I did take the slip off this because the back slip just didn't allow you to see the artwork. It covered everything up, and this is too great to be covered up. So I have it in a protector, but I took the slipcase off and stored that somewhere else. I really love this series, and I cannot wait to watch it again. Wanted on 4K. This is another pre-order for the month. This is a movie I remember finally, and I watched it, I believe, last year. It's been within the last like 2 years that I watched it, just to be like, does this movie really hold up? I love James McAvoy. I felt this was just as good as the day I watched it originally. I think this is probably one of those movies, obviously very influenced by The Matrix, with the curving of the bullets and stuff like that. I know it was based on a comic, but you can tell the visual style was just it's set for a certain type of audience. But I remember really enjoying it, and I watched it again, like I said, in the past couple years, enjoyed it then. So when this came on pre-order, it was an instant buy. To the shock of absolutely no one, I got Captain America Brave New World in Steelbook. Obviously, adding to my MCU Steelbook collection, which if you didn't watch the video, which was a series of 2 videos, you can start checking that series out up here. I'm still complete on my MCU Steelbook collection, obviously with Brave New World. As of today, they haven't put Thunderbolts up for pre-sale yet, but you know I'll be getting that when it comes out. Now we're going to get into some of the more, I would say, rare stuff that I picked up over the last month. And it's going to be one VHS and then the rest are DVDs. Who would have thought I would have been picking up DVDs in 2025? But I have a reason. So the first one I'm going to show off is the Swingers VHS. This is actually a sealed copy that I found online. The seller was selling it. I did end up having to take, or I took, you can kind of see it there. There's a hole there where the price used to be, and when it came in, I wanted to show off the artwork. I wanted this for a display piece. I don't have a VHS player. I have no way of playing this, but I used to own this on VHS. And there was a few copies online, but they were kind of beat up. But this one was sealed, and I just took the sticker off. So I guess I don't know if that's qualified as sealed or not, but it works for me. I'm not getting rid of it. I messaged the seller. They were selling it for 15 plus shipping, and I asked, I was like, would you take 10? They said yes. So I got it for $10, a completely sealed copy, and it is, I would say, minty fresh. I mean, this thing looks really nice. There's no dents or dings, or the cardboard isn't scuffed up or anything like that. So this is a perfect piece to display on my shelves. And then I got the Malco case to put in it because I obviously wanted to protect this. I think I own, you're going to see in a minute, I own every version. I'm looking on my shelf here. I own several different versions of Swingers. I love Jon Favreau. This is probably my favorite movie of all time. I have a very big fondness for this movie. And I love Jon Favreau, and I'm collecting all his movies. I picked up Chef in one of my previous haul videos. So I added this to the collection as well. And then when it was at Second and Charles, I added the DVD version of it. So now I have the matching set. I already owned this copy of Swingers, but I wanted the original artwork. I have this poster. It's stored under the house because I really don't have a spot in this room to have it, but I already had this version. I used to have this version, but the copy got so beat up that I ended up upgrading it to this one, but I wanted the original artwork. So I added this to the collection. I added the VHS. I have the Steelbook Blu-ray, and I have the Blu-ray of Swingers. So I own this movie quite a bit, and I don't regret it at all. I absolutely love this movie, and I love owning it in all the possible formats. Condorman is a movie that I ordered in April and finally came in May. I don't know. This is an old Disney movie from the early 80s. I don't know if you're familiar with this movie. Please let me know in the comments. This is a movie that I watched ad nauseum when I was a kid. It was, I would say, probably one of the first superhero movies that I ever saw. It would probably be a toss-up between this one and the original Christopher Reeve Superman. I remember being infatuated with this movie as a kid. The main character, and I'm pretty sure, I could be remembering, I think he's the same guy that did Greatest American Hero. He has no superpowers, but he loves gadgets. So the boat is cool. He's got a car. I mean, he's basically like Batman. He's obviously Condor Man. So he's a comic book artist that ends up taking his ideas from comics and putting them in real life. You can kind of see the suit there. I just remember falling in love with this movie when I was a kid, and they don't make this on Blu-ray. The only way to watch this is on DVD, and they have an HD version, and I bought that, and I have it on digital and watch it. But I wanted the physical copy because you just never know. One day someone's gonna be like, well, you had the license and we're taking the license away. So I wanted to make sure I always had the ability to watch this movie, and I really hope one day Disney will dive into the archives, even though I don't know what this did box office wise or how popular it is, but in my mind it was a huge blockbuster because I loved it so much as a kid. But I had to have this one on DVD just to make sure that I own it and I can watch it whenever I want, no matter what. The rest of these are all movies I picked up at Second and Charles. I have a list of movies that they don't have on Blu-ray that I wanted to make sure that I owned. And among them was Sidewalks of New York. This is another movie. It did not light the world on fire. It's an Ed Burns movie. I used to own this on DVD. I used to own all these on DVD, but they all went away. The funny thing is, the Second and Charles that's there is where I used to live, and it kind of made me wonder as I picking these up, is like, are these the copies that I used to own that I sold away? Would be kind of funny. But Sidewalks of New York, it's got a great cast. I mean, it's Ed Burns, Rosario Dawson, Dennis Farina, Heather Graham, David Krumholtz, Brittany Murphy, and Stanley Tucci. Unfortunately, there's a few of these people that are no longer with us. But I think this is a very fun movie. It's got some Dennis Farina makes this movie. He's by far for me the funniest character in this one. He is who he is. But I love Edward Burns movies. I own a lot of his movies. I love watching the movies he directs. And this was one of those they don't make on Blu-ray, so the only way for me to own this was on DVD. So I'd been looking for this for months and months, and I could find it on eBay for fairly cheap. But then people wanted to charge like $2 for the movie and then like $8 for shipping, and I know it don't cost $8 to ship it. So I found this at Second and Charles, and I found it for $2. So sometimes patience pays off. PCU. This is another movie, obviously just a raunchy comedy from that early '90s. No even artwork on it. You can see it's a little bit scratched up on that side, but I believe the widescreen version, it just needs a cleaning. Again, Jon Favreau's in this, so that was one of the reasons that I wanted to buy it. But he plays such a minor role that it wasn't him. But I enjoyed Jeremy Piven in this. I think the story is funny. It's an entertaining movie. It's got George Clinton and P Funk in it. I mean, it's a fun movie. If you have not seen it and you like movies, I would say like Road Trip. I would say Old School, Wedding Crashers. If you like those kind of movies, I think you'd like PCU because this predates all those and it's still a lot of fun. I picked up the Aaron Sorkin series, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. You can see it's a little beat up here. This is a movie, or not a movie, this is a series that I really enjoy. The one thing about this set is the pins are all broken. So I don't know if I can, I got to look up to see if I can buy replacement thin cases like this. Not sure, but because it's all busted up. The discs don't really sit in there well, but at least it's tight enough to where they don't move around. This was written by Aaron Sorkin, stars Matthew Perry, along with a ton of other people. You can see the cast there. I'm sure you'll recognize more than a few of them. Amanda Peet, D.L. Hewley, Bradley Whitford. I mean, you can see who's in this. I always really enjoyed this series. I watched it when it was originally on TV. I used to own this set here, and then I think it was sometime during the pandemic. It was one of the ones I was still holding on to, and I was like, you know what, I haven't watched this in forever, and I digitized it onto my Plex server and decided to get rid of it. And then with getting back into physical media, this was one of those shows they don't make on Blu-ray. I doubt they will ever make on Blu-ray because it got canceled after one season. But I love Aaron Sorkin's writing. I thought this show was very sharp and very well done, and found it at Second and Charles for $5. It was just funny because I was just ticking stuff off my list of the things that they don't make on Blu-ray that I wanted to get. Was finding it at Second and Charles. Like I texted my wife, I was like, "This place is a gold mine." Another one that was on my list was The Program, the James Caan, say football university movie. This one, again, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember why this movie, I don't want to say it was popular, but made a lot of noise when it first came out. And I'll be interested to see if it's still in the movie or if it got edited out because I cannot remember if the scene where they had some players that I believe laid on railroad tracks as I can't remember the reason. I think it was just to prove how much of a man they were or something like that. But there were some players that did that in the movie. And then, of course, in real life, some people decided to do it. And I don't know if it's an urban legend because it's one of those things. And this is before the internet, so who knows if it was actually true. But I remember hearing that people were leaving the theater and actually doing that and obviously got killed because that's don't lay in front of a moving train. But I remember this movie getting a lot of hype because of that and getting a lot of controversy and people protesting it. But I remember really enjoying this movie. We watched it a lot when I was of that age, and I hadn't seen it for a long time. And I saw this at the flea market a few weeks ago and just decided to pass it up because for some reason I thought they made it on Blu-ray. And then after I left, I was like, let me look it up. And then saw it was not on Blu-ray and DVD was the only way to get it. So when I was at the Second and Charles and I saw it sitting there for $3, I was like, well, I'm going to get it because I passed up on it once and who knows how many times I'll be able to find it. So I'm looking forward to watching this because it has been a very long time. And then finally on my list of items, I still have one or two more items. I want to get Other People's Money because they don't make that on Blu-ray. That's another old Danny DeVito movie that I would really like to get. But I picked up Can't Buy Me Love. I'm not sure how this isn't on Blu-ray, how this has been skipped thus far. It's a Touchstone movie, so I believe that's Disney, so that may be it. But I mean, this is Patrick Dempsey. I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, this was one of the movies that I think everybody I knew watched and loved. Like, I feel like movie is pretty widely enjoyed by people, and there would be people, again, probably of a certain age, my age, would be more than willing to pick this up on Blu-ray, on 4K. It'd be really nice if one of the boutique labels put this out as some sort of collector's edition, because I always really enjoyed this movie. My wife really enjoys this movie. This was one of the ones on my list that were hardest to find. And when I saw it again, it was $3 at the Second and Charles, so I decided to pick it up. Incidentally, the one it was Other People's Money and the movie Airborne, which is the old rollerblading movie from probably the 90s with Seth Green, and I don't even know who the lead actor is, but I always remember really enjoying that movie, and I've been looking for it on eBay, and you can find it for about $20. But as evidenced by some of this, sometimes it's waiting a little bit longer because I don't think there's going to be a big rush on the movie Airborne. So I've just been kind of waiting. And for some of these, like Sidewalks of New York and things like that, I waited long enough and I was able to find them in stores. So the hope is that if I wait long enough, I'll be able to find everything that I want without having to pay scalper prices and things like that. But thank you everybody for sticking around and watching this video. Please let me know of what movies that I picked up have you seen. Do you have any favorites that are in here? But if you've watched this long, please hit that thumbs up. Please hit the subscribe button. If you want to see how I'm going to store all these, you can watch the video in which I modified 2 Billy bookcases to fit the height of my space. You can watch that here. But for now, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And don't forget, collect what you love.